2 weeks out from the draft, S&L Live, Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. 2 weeks from today, we'll be preparing for the NFL draft. Texans on the clock at 25. We're going to go through the visits that have been made with the Texans. We're also going to go through our running backs. Which running backs do we like? I've found myself really being intrigued by a certain running back. I'll tell you who that is in a sec. Also, we got some big announcement on the draft party. Day 3 of the draft. I think y'all are going to like the venue, and it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. But we're finally getting inside of 2 weeks. A lot of dialogue, a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. But for the most part, the Texans basically at the mercy of what goes on in front of them. And the uncertainty, there's just so many variables that it's really hard to predict what the hell is going to happen.
Okay, would you like a breaking variable as we literally talk about variables? Would you like a breaking variable?
Would love a breaking variable.
Okay, give me a second to put this on here. But a player that I know some people were interested in maybe the Texans pursuing is turning himself into the Frisco Police Department. Isaiah Bond is turning himself into the Frisco Police Department for a matter related to an outstanding warrant for sexual assault. Frisco PD told Ian Rappaport and his colleagues. He posted bond and was subsequently released. Not good. Literally just came out as we started the show. So Isaiah Bond, an outstanding warrant for sexual assault. He had to turn himself into police.
That's not ideal.
No, and this goes along with the whispers that some of the other draft people had talked about with Bond, that there's a lot more off the field stuff than some of the on the field disappointment that's associated with his game and some of the lack of consistency and high end stuff. But that's not good. It's 2 weeks before the draft. Not good at all.
Yeah. See you at Arrowhead, buddy. He's a chief. Okay, so there you go. So Isaiah Bond is a chief. It is established.
Get ready to learn burn-ins, buddy.
Okay, so see you at Arrowhead, my friend. That's what I take away from that. So Isaiah Bond to the Chiefs. That's something that we do know. So I don't know if this is a variable anymore. He's going to be coached by Andy Reid.
Yeah, maybe that's to your point. Maybe there's a clarifier there. It's not in a variable anymore.
Bond was an interesting prospect. He was probably a round 3, maybe even falls into day 3 type of guy. Not overly consistent. But yeah, I think you can probably cross him off the list for the Texans and move him up the board for the Chiefs. So yeah, that's my biggest takeaway on Isaiah Bond.
Move him up the board.
He just went up 5 spots. Just saw the board. He's up 5 spots. So yeah, he's climbing up. He's climbing up the Chiefs draft board.
That's not ideal. Might be the understatement of the draft process so far. That's not ideal.
Yeah, not ideal, to say the least. But so Isaiah Bond is a Chief.
Yeah,
there we go.
You'd think so, probably.
Yeah. So the Beast came out yesterday, and I think it's one of the best annual events when it comes to last-minute draft cramming from Dane Brugler. The Beast came out, and there were a couple interesting things that I found in there. There's a lot of information. Was there anything that stuck out with you? Because I've gone through every part that I found relevant to the Texans. I'll be honest, I didn't read past guard number 2, which happened to be Kelvin Banks, or really tackles or anything like that. But outside of that, did anything really stick out to you? I thought there were some interesting nugs there.
I do like it when players sort of give a description of themselves and it makes it in there. So the best example of that is Dane Brugler, I guess, talked to Tate Ratledge, the guard from Georgia, who is one of my favorites in this upcoming draft. And Ratledge said, "Yeah, I'm just a dirtbag." It's like, okay, it's a pretty good way to phrase that and to say that. Like, yeah, I'm just a dirtbag offensive lineman. Okay. All right. I like that. The Trey Henderson having sleep paralysis was sort of like a whoa. And then the thing you always learn about these guys is like what type of injuries they had in the past. And then it's like, what type of player were they after those injuries? Like if a guy had a significant injury in like high school or early in his college career, like it's usually in there. And Dane Brugler usually goes over that. And so that's always that you keep in the back of your mind is like, is it a one-off knee injury? Were they always banged up? Did they always have something keeping them from being on the field? Because if you have trouble with durability in a college season, the pros aren't going to be very kind to you.
Yeah, and there's a few there was a few injuries that kind of stuck out in there, and he puts them in like the negatives. I think is funny, and sometimes it's not. It's like, oh well, he missed one game with an injury. I find that pretty funny, the way that he puts that. But as far as like the health stuff, I thought it was interesting. There were some really interesting running back nugs, to be honest with you. I thought there were some really interesting running back nugs, some interesting information that kind of emerged. And I'll get into some of that when we list our top 7 guys, which is part of today's episode. We'll get to wide receivers as we inch closer, but there were some really interesting running back nugs.
Okay, well, we'll get to those. I like, just let me throw one in there just real quick to kind of show you the kind of stuff. ETN hasn't led a team in rushing since high school. It's like the little things that get in there about these guys.
For like someone who kind of has a reputation as someone who's like he doesn't have like overly impressive skills, but you like naturally like look at him as kind of reliable. He's only carried the ball 20 times once at Georgia, which I thought that was a relatively surprising stat. He only carried the rock 20 times one time.
Yeah, he's gonna be a pass catcher running back for somebody.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know that Luther Burden was one of 10 kids and he was the only boy. So he had 9 sisters, which is absolutely crazy. That was an interesting nugget. There was the McMillan nugget where Tet McMillan, I guess, admitted that he needed to grow up.
We knew that.
In there. He said that in 2024. There were a couple of things that I think kind of made me think about Nick Caley. Couple of comps. I know there was a Besh comp to Puka. He kind of mentioned that he has kind of like a Puka feel to him, Jake Besh. And he also said something like, by the time you finish reading this, he just got another lift in. So I guess that means he's kind of a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
And then Restrepo got compared to Edelman, which we know that Nick Caley has kind of a history with Edelman and like all the way from the beginning of his career to the end. So maybe that's an RC, but there was a Julian Edelman drop-in, and he didn't have like player comps. So it's not like Dane Brugler's doing it the whole time. When he puts them in there, they kind of stick out a little bit.
That's an HC. That's a height card.
Yeah. Said that he's tougher than a $2 steak.
Jesus, is Jim Ross writing this thing? Good God Almighty. Xavier Restrepo's ready for a slobber knocker.
He also had Burden ahead of Ibuka, which I found interesting. Had first round grades on each of them, but he had him ahead of Ibuka. So there you go. That's what that was. But man, 9 sisters. That is absolutely crazy. Let's get into some of the defensive prospects. And I know you got some information on the defensive prospects. Before we get into the fun stuff, the running backs and stuff, let's get into the defensive prospects that have visited the Houston Texans.
Now, when you go through and you count all these names, you're going to see more than 30. So some of these guys aren't 30 visits. Some of these guys are local visits. And then some of these guys are virtual visits. But ultimately, it's a post-combine visit with the prospect, which I feel is pretty notable. Some teams, it's a little bit less notable. Like the Chargers, for a couple of years now, haven't drafted many guys that they visited with. The Texans usually end up visiting with the guys a little bit. And not a lot of names on here. Just 12 defensive players. When you see the offensive list, there's loads of them. But pretty clear where they're putting their focus. Not a ton of DBs or linebackers, a lot of defensive linemen, ends and tackles. The most notable probably name on here to me for like fits the Texans, should be available for them when it comes around would be Oluwafemi Oladejo from UCLA. He used to play linebacker, now he plays defensive end. So I think there's still some growing in there, but he had a pretty nice Senior Bowl. D'Amico Ryans was at the Senior Bowl with Nick Caserio this year, so he got to see him up close and personal. And the frame is there, and probably adding a few more pounds wouldn't hurt him. But Oluwafemi Oladejo is a pretty intriguing name. And then obviously the two Texas A&M kids. I think there's a lot of like projection with them because the production wasn't there in Skirton and Turner. So I'll be intrigued to see what defensive lineman the Texans add in the draft if they end up getting one. But they didn't exactly cast the widest of nets here when it comes to the defensive guys.
No, they did not. I talked to Kobe Bryant at the Combine, and he said he liked the Texans because he said they like dogs. He said, I'm a dog, so we get along. Also said he's buddies with Kamari Lassiter. He's small, but they do need corner depth. Maybe if he falls, and I think he will fall into day 3, the size is just, he is a small guy, and he's also a fearless guy, which some would say that's good to be small and fearless. I don't know if that's as great of a thing in the NFL, and if it really translates to long-term success, but they do like his mentality. He does know Kamari Lassiter, so keep an eye on him. Alfred Collins, just solid player. Nothing like phenomenal, nothing spectacular, just a very solid player, one of the leaders of that Texas squad. And I think cornerback really is something to really keep an eye on because we don't talk about it a lot because you feel so good about the guys at the top. But their cornerback depth is pretty suspect, to say the very least. So
Ronald Darby, and that's about it.
Yeah, and that's kind of a tire kick type of thing. But yeah, so we don't have cornerback at the top of the list, but I do think they're going to be pretty active in the day 3, maybe even the undrafted market when it comes to some of these corners.
A name that I did not a name that I didn't add on this list that they did talk to, Mac McWilliams from UCF. He ran a 4.41, Senior Bowl guy, and can play safety and can play corner. So, and he's a late round guy, so that's a guy to think about. The East Carolina and Ole Miss cornerbacks probably not available to the Texans. Like, should go after they pick their first selection and before they pick their second pick. So the visits with them are intriguing, and I suppose that's probably if he falls to us, let's take a swing type thing. And I couldn't tell you anything about these two linebackers on this list. I don't know. They got cool names.
Yeah, the visits a lot of times, like sometimes you know enough about a guy. I don't know how much politicking there is or like overthinking where you don't want to visit with a guy to let people know you like him. But it just because they visit with you doesn't necessarily mean that. Maybe you know everything you need to know and you got enough between the other type of visits like unofficial. So defense, we don't anticipate it being something that they do at the top end of the draft. So it makes sense that these are the caliber of names that we see when it comes to defense. So that's no surprise. Like if they're visiting with Eamon Worry and Walker and like, it's a waste of time. And quite frankly, it's just kind of a waste of a visit. So there's no surprise that these are the names. This is the caliber of names that we see with defense. Now let's go to the fun stuff and let's go to the thing that they need more here on S&L. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. Got a big announcement about the party. You better be there. You better be there. On 3 Saturdays from today, the 26th, we got a draft party for you after the Super Stream. It's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a way to look back at the draft, a way to look ahead to the season, a way to enjoy the third day of the draft. So we want you there with us. We got that announcement coming shortly along with our running back rankings here on S&L. But let's go to the offense.
Look at this list. 12 guys on defense, and then you just got boom. Look at all these guys here. And I guess we can go ahead and scratch out Isaiah Bond's name if we want.
Or maybe you get him in day 3 and you just roll the dice. No, I'm just kidding.
So 2 tight ends on this visit list: Miami's Elijah Arroyo and Texas's Gunnar Helm. I gotta imagine the Gunnar Helm visit's like, hey, what were you thinking at the combine, dummy?
Running after getting hurt. Yeah, the Gunnar Helm thing's interesting. That's a day 3 guy now. He's not going on the first 2 days. I would not anticipate. That would be kind of a project type of guy. And I think someone that Nick Caley might be able to figure out and try to get the most out of. Arroyo's interesting because that production is really rough. It was good last year. I don't think he has over 40 career catches. It's not over 50. That's for sure. So Arroyo is almost, if they draft Arroyo, I'm almost looking at it as drafting another wide receiver. And I think that was interesting. I saw Dane Brugler talking about this. I think he was on, it was a clip. I think it was with Mina Kimes. Mm-hmm. But they were talking about how if you look at Colson Loveland as just a pass catcher, then it's easier to match him up against receivers. I look at Arroyo as kind of that type of guy where pretty much another pass catcher. So you have that, the tight ends right there. Matthew Golden, I don't think that's happening. He's visiting the Cowboys today too. They pick at 12. I don't know that Matthew Golden's even a realistic possibility at 25. And these are Texans visits for those of y'all just tuning in here on S&L. I don't like Kyle Williams, man. I just don't okay. I understand the name's been popular. I'm not big on this Kyle Williams thing. I know he's visited with Tennessee. He played with Cam Ward when Ward was at Washington State. The best way I can put it is if Kyle Williams is the top receiver that you have coming out of this draft, I don't feel any better about the receiving room than I did before. He doesn't do a lot for me. Yeah, I don't feel any better about it. It's just kind of a blah. I almost look at it as a camp body. And I don't say that about Noel. I don't say that about Ibuka. I probably don't even say that about any of these other guys, but Kyle Williams is just blah for me, especially where you would have to take him. No, thank you. I'm out on Kyle Williams.
I mean, you could get him at 89.
No, thanks. I'm good.
Yeah. I think you're just dead ass wrong on this one. I mean, the guy's an athlete. He gets off the line really well. I think you're dead ass wrong.
Well, I hope that it doesn't come down to that, and I hope the Titans take him, honestly.
Now I wouldn't draft him in the second round like I've seen some people saying, and Chris Sims saying he's the second best wide receiver in the draft. I don't like it that much, but I like it better than treating him like he's a camp body.
I don't like Kyle Williams very much. Noel's interesting. The fact that Texans have visited with him. We've talked about Higgins. Brugler has Noel slightly ahead of Higgins. They're in the same range. It's almost like a DK Metcalf, AJ Brown type of thing where they're almost glued together and they're on the second tier of receivers. But we've kind of established that we don't know much about Nick Caley's offense, but it does seem like he's not going to shy away from multiple guys that can do things similar. They actually talk about Higgins more as the slot guy. Noel is an interesting one for sure. And I would be intrigued if they decided to take Noel on day 2.
So Dane Brewer comped him to a Christian Kirk. So if you had 2 Christian Kirks,
it's fine.
You can do a lot worse than that. I don't like Noel. I like Higgins more. I like some of these other wide receivers a lot more than him. I just feel like his most likely outcome is a decent wide receiver 3. I just don't know if he's ever going to be the number 2 guy on your team. And I just want a little bit more potential from that wide receiver pick that the Texans make. So I don't love him from that standpoint. And obviously they visited with Ibuka. So you knew that was going to happen.
That was a spoiler alert. And then we have a couple of other guys at the bottom end, Jeremiah Hunter and Coleman Owen out of Washington and Ohio.
Yeah, that is Washington, like the Huskies, but not, from that good crew that was in the draft a year ago. No. And Ohio, not Ohio State. I'm trying to find these guys on Brugler's list, see where they kind of stack up here.
Now we're going to the offensive tackles, which I'll let you take over. Oregon offensive tackle Josh Connerly Jr., William and Mary offensive tackle Charles Grant, and Boston College offensive tackle Ozzie Trapillo.
Yeah, so Ozzy's an intriguing player because he's about the same size as Trent Brown. So he's a tall guy, probably not as thick as Trent Brown was when Brown was coming out, but he is a huge tackle and probably a right tackle, which a lot of people thought Trent Brown was going to be when he first got into the league. But having Trent Brown on the team and ending up with a guy like Trapillo, I got to figure out exactly how to say it. And it's pretty intriguing. Now, that's not a guy that I think can help you a lot in 2025. He's a depth piece immediately. But if he eventually was a player that was starting for you, then certainly you could understand a day 3 investment or round 3 investment in him. I just again feel like guys need to help you a lot more in 2025 when you're thinking about it. And I don't know that any of these tackles that they visited with are 2025 helpers, because Connerly doesn't really strike me as a bump inside guy, and then neither does Grant. Grant's getting, another small school guy. Grant's getting a lot of love here in the draft process.
Really? I must be missing that love fest. I haven't seen like how much love are we talking? Are we talking day 2?
Yeah, like easily day 2, like
round 2,
like could be top of round 3 into round 2 type guy.
Okay.
And
let's go to the interior.
I don't trust those. I don't trust those small school tackles like that.
Well, you never know. We have center Jake Majors, then UCLA guard Josh Carlin Majors out of Texas, Alabama guard Tyler Booker, and North Dakota State University guard Greg Zabel. All these Gray Zabel, my bad. Gray Zabel, the guy who visited the other day with Caleb Johnson, who we'll get to in a sec. Booker and Zabel, we know that those guys have been mentioned in the first round. I don't think they get past the second. It almost feels like Booker doesn't get past the first, but he is a guy that D'Amico loves. And then Majors is probably a day 3 guy. And
I don't know that anybody's played more football at center than Jake Majors.
Yes.
He's played a tremendous amount of football. He's a lot smaller than some of these other guys, but man, as far as experience, handling things, you hear about how important he was to Quinn Ewers and
leadership,
and helping Ewers with those things. Some team's going to use a late flyer on Jake Majors, and they're going to get a really solid player for their offensive line room. I don't know if he's ever going to be a consistent starter that you want to run out there every week, but he seems like a really solid player.
Yeah, the thing about Majors is all these Texas offensive linemen that we see, and it's pretty much a full offensive line of guys that we're seeing. He was the leader. He wasn't the highest recruit. That was Banks and Williams, who both happened to flip when Quinn Ewers did. Got like $85K to do so. So shout out to them for changing their mind, as Dane Brugler put it. Just happened to happen at the same time. But Majors, he was the guy that was kind of the leader of that whole thing. So there's intangibles. There's not much versatility, though. And Brugler put it that way. Like, he's not Jared Patterson, where you can put him at guard and center. He is just a center, but he's got a lot of intangibles. Pretty smart guy. And I could see them liking him a lot. It's a day 3 type of thing with Jake Majors, though, and there's not much versatility.
58 games, 57 starts at Texas. I mean, what more could you ask for from a late round guy? Just get in there and come in and compete. I think it's, there's a lot worse backups that have less experience than him. It feels like experience is something for a center that's pretty useful.
Thing I do wonder, though, like, if you're bringing in a guy who's definitely a center, like, what does that say about the 2 guys you got that have been snapping the ball to CJ Stroud the last couple of years? Does that just, like, are you just using Patterson as basically a reserve guard and center and Juice Scruggs? Like, I do wonder what that means for those two guys. Not that it really matters. Like, I don't think those guys have warranted, like, on day 3, if you think a guy can be a starting center, like, not like staying away from. Like, it hasn't been that good. But I do wonder what their line of thinking would be if they bring in someone who's 100% pretty much a true center.
Well, he's a backup. I don't know that Jake Majors come in and compete with Scruggs or Patterson to be a starter right away. And they've always had an additional center in the conversation, it feels like. Remember, I mean, typically their center has a little bit more versatility to him. Michael Dieter back in the day had guard center, and weirdly they played him at tackle one time, versatility. But if Majors is on your team, he's clearly your backup center.
Yeah, I don't really like I can see the chat's talking. I'm not a versatility guy, so I'm just saying, like, what does that mean for them? I don't know what the hell they are. So who knows? I mean, maybe it's also quite possible that Nick Caley and Cole Popovich put on the tape, and Cole Popovich already knows, and they think one of those guys sucks. Like, they don't like. There's a very strong possibility that they put on the tape and say, "Man, this dude's freaking awful." So there's also that. Like, they're not married to either one of these guys.
No, and they shouldn't be. If Patterson or Scruggs had established themselves, it'd be an easier conversation, but neither have done that. So I would tell you, just because he's been available and played center a little bit more, Patterson starts the race ahead of Scruggs for me. But let's see. Let's get him out there and see.
So 7 wide receivers, which we kind of expect with the official visits. We now get to the running backs. And you have some guys that you probably got to get early, and then some other guys that are intriguing names a little bit later. We start with Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins. Very, very intriguing name. I'll be honest with you. I'm starting to be extremely sold on Quinshon Judkins.
Okay.
Very, very much. And I don't know when I saw the light, but I started kind of seeing the light earlier this week when it comes to him. I'll explain that a little bit more, but let's go through the rest of the list before I explain that. Auburn running back Jarquez Hunter. Texas running back Jaden Blue, who's kind of a receiving threat type of guy, not necessarily an every down back, fumbles a shit ton, and also has those small hands, has those small hands, which kind of explains the fumbling, and those aren't going to get any bigger. UNC running back Omarion Hampton, SMU running back Brashard Smith, kind of in the same mold as Blue, a receiving specialist type of guy, and then Iowa running back Caleb Johnson, who visited at the same time as your boy Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State University by way of Iowa.
Yeah. Brashard Smith. So they talked to Brashard Smith at the Senior Bowl. They talked to him again at the Combine, and they had him in for a visit. He played wide receiver initially when he was at Miami, when and then ended up playing running back, transferred to SMU. And there were games where he was the offense for the Ponies this past year. Like, I really like Brashard Smith. There's not a lot of tread on that tire, and there's probably some unlocked potential because of the short amount of time he's been playing the position. So I'd be pretty intrigued by Brashard Smith, and it just he fits perfectly as a 4th round pick. Unfortunately, the Texans don't have a 4th round pick right now.
All right, so Quinshon Judkins to me is intriguing because I don't know if it's too early to take him at 25, and I think it might be too late to take him at 58. So my thing with Quinshon Judkins is, in a perfect scenario, maybe you trade back a little bit and you take him, but he's in my top 3 running backs now. And the reason why is I started kind of thinking about it, and I asked myself the question, okay, I like Omarion Hampton a lot. And Omarion Hampton was very productive in a few years at North Carolina. But I asked myself, what would I be saying about Quinshon Judkins if he had just stayed at Ole Miss? And let's say he stays at Ole Miss and he continues to pile up stats. He's going to have 15 plus touchdowns, which he has every year, even when he's in a committee. He's going to have a lot more yards, and he's also kind of an underrated receiver. Like he gets a little bit more. He probably deserves a little bit more credit when it comes to being a receiver than he gets. I think much like we've kind of had the discussion about Burden, and we've said, okay, are we prisoners of the moment of the fact that his 2024 season was so crappy, and that's what we're judging him on? It almost feels like the dialogue about Judkins has been, well, he's a committee back, but he wasn't. Like before this, he was the top dog at Ole Miss. So the committee question doesn't exist. We've seen what he does when he is the guy that's getting 200 plus carries. The other thing is, the reason he transferred to Ohio State was because he wanted to win a national championship. So he went there, and there were times with Henderson when he was a guy that they trusted in clutch situations. He had the 3 touchdowns against them, and he did his thing there. Other thing is, he never gets hurt. So you talk about, and I know these 3 words aren't very popular when it comes to the Texans, but D'Amico said it the other day, and maybe the Caserio impact and that old Patriot-ish impact with Nick Caley is a little bit alive and well, which I don't think is the worst thing, because I think a lot of the Patriot way is kind of common sense that they just kind of claim, like, do your job. Who the fuck doesn't think someone should do their job like that? Like, really, that's brilliant. Like, come on, let's put that on a t-shirt. But tough, smart, dependable is what we always hear. He's damn sure tough. I think he damn near has 50 touchdowns. He gets the yards. He's dependable. He doesn't get hurt. And the other thing that I don't think he gets credit for, he's smart as hell. And this is kind of one of the things that I found interesting with the Beast. So he graduated high school early to go to Ohio State. His dad is to go to Ole Miss, excuse me. His dad is a business owner. His mom's an attorney. And if you look at his final 7, the final 7 schools he considered before he went to Ole Miss, his final 7 was a bunch of schools that you would expect.
Auburn, Florida, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, Ole Miss.
And then what was the last one that he considered going to and considered going and playing football at?
Yale.
Exactly. Yale is not on your recruitment list if you're not smart as hell. So I don't know, like some people say he's a zone back. Some people say that he can do other things. We don't know what the Texans offensive system is going to be, but we do know that this guy can carry the load. We do know that he can share a backfield. We do know that he cares about winning. We do know that he's smart, and we do know that he visited the Texans. So this guy's kind of jumped up my list. I'm way higher on Judkins than I was, and I already had him in the top 5. I got him right there at 3 now.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly understand it. There's a lot to like there, and I just wonder, how does a guy like this not end up at Alabama with as good as he was? Like, I understand that, sometimes stars matter and stuff like that, and Bama didn't have any sort of shortage of talent, but he's an in-state kid. He's really good. Everybody thinks he's going to go stay in state, maybe go to Auburn, ends up, bumping a state over and going to Ole Miss. It's like, how do you let him get out of Alabama? It's like, I understand it in Texas because there's so many damn guys, but there can't be that many great players in Alabama that you're letting a guy like that get out of Bama.
Well, I think the recruiting was all out of whack with these kids. And that was another thing that I brought up yesterday, where I think COVID and a lot of these guys not even playing senior year and kind of developing a little bit late, I think it kind of impacted the recruiting rankings and the ability to kind of evaluate these guys. I mean, you don't recognize juniors in high school from their sophomore to their freshman, sophomore year to then. And in a lot of these cases, the recruiting stuff was a little bit out of whack.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, so Judkins is kind of raising for me. I want to get Cody Stoots' top 7 running backs, and then I'll give mine because I'm kind of intrigued to see where you sit on this.
So we left Genty off the board. He's obviously number 1 for everybody.
And he's not a Texan.
We went post Genty on this one. Amarion Hampton's the top one for me. I mean, just super productive at North Carolina. I like really productive guys. And he was even more productive when he was the offense, because Drake May leaves and they know that Hampton's getting the ball, and he still just takes care of his business. 33 total touchdowns in 2 seasons at North Carolina. Receiving prowess. I mean, he's, he could do it all. Trey Henderson, he's a home run hitter. I like Henderson. I feel like he is the ultimate complement back to basically whatever you have. Because if you have somebody that does Trey Henderson stuff, you want another one. If you have somebody that doesn't do Trey Henderson stuff, you want Trey Henderson. So I really like his game. We just went through Judkins. Very good. Very good at what he does. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Probably a little bit smaller than most people would be comfortable for, but he doesn't play small. He's fast as well, so you can trust him. Again, with the production, I like Caleb Johnson from Iowa, what he brings to the table. Maybe not exactly what we think the Texans might be running, but also he's not incapable of doing what the Texans might be able to do on offense. And the thing with Johnson, too, is they didn't throw him the ball at Iowa because they didn't throw the ball at Iowa because it's one of the most ugly things to watch in college football. I still think there's probably a chance he can catch the ball if he has to. Jarquez Hunter. I love Jarquez Hunter from the Senior Bowl where he dominated in pass protection. He was destroying guys, safeties, and linebackers in the receiving stuff. He's physical. He's mean. He's not got top end, break it all the way home speed, but he does what he needs to do. And I mean, he just punishes people. And I wanted to put somebody else besides Cam Scatterbo, but I'm having a hard time quitting Cam Scatterbo. I really wanted to put RJ Harvey there from UCF, but I like physical running backs, and Scatterbo's more physical than RJ Harvey is. But RJ Harvey's, I'm probably messing up here and should have put Harvey, but Scatterbo makes my 7th.
Yeah, my top 7 is somewhat similar to yours. And again, we're not putting Ginty up here because it's not even realistic. It's kind of a waste of time. I have Omarion Hampton, Joe Mixon. That's the comparison. That's the guy that he mentioned. He is, if the Texans get 2 Joe Mixons, have at it. I like Omarion Hampton at the top. Quinshon Judkins, I got him at 2. We just mentioned it. He's got experience as a workhorse. He's got experience as a complimentary back. He's smart as hell. He's reliable. And I think there's some untapped potential. He's number 2. Number 3, Trey Henderson. I think he's kind of getting the reputation as a complimentary back. I think that would obviously be his role, but I think there's a little bit more potential there as someone who can be your primary back when called upon. He's been highly recruited from kind of the jump, kind of one of those guys who I also think you can kind of see the maturation of Trey Henderson. And just, if you listen to people at Ohio State and you listen to the story, he kind of grew into from a productive player that maybe had immaturity to a incredibly mature guy. So you saw the growth from him. Dylan Sampson's interesting. He only started 1 year at Tennessee, but he happened to be the offensive player of the year in the SEC the 1 year that he started. My favorite fact about him was that he went to the same high school as the Reed brothers, Justin and Jordan Reed, Landon Collins, and Eddie Lacy in Louisiana. That's not all, though. He's the only player in that school's history to start as a freshman. So, yeah. So with all those guys, only non-kicker to start as a freshman. So I just think that's an interesting nugget. Caleb Johnson, he's solid. I don't know if there's a ton of upside there. I know Brugler said that he gained 10 pounds from the combine to pro day, which I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Didn't run that well at the combine. But he also, you mentioned his perhaps untapped receiving potential. He didn't fumble once at Iowa in the cold weather with them basically just running him into a brick wall. No fumbles. I got to think coaches love that. Jordan James is interesting because he's a small guy. He can do a lot of stuff. I don't necessarily think that there's a system he couldn't fit in, but I don't know how much the upside is. And then I'll be honest with Scatterbo. I don't love Scatterbo, but I don't love any of the other running backs. So just the intrigue of Cam Scatabo at 7 and the body of work and everything that he can do. He played every position in high school, and we saw him do some things at Arizona State. I put him at 7. I want to go back up to Judkins though, and I want to talk about this because I actually asked Brew McCoy about this. And by the way, if you want to like read a damn novel, read Brew McCoy's like path to college. Like it's one of the longest reads ever. Good God, how many? I mean, from going to Texas for spring ball, from originally committing to USC, then going to Texas for spring ball, then transferring back to USC and having to sit out because you transferred twice, to like some sort of investigation, to injury, to Tennessee. There's a lot going on there. But I asked him this because I actually think this is something that Judkins has on all the other running backs as well. I actually think if you've been at multiple schools, I think it's almost an advantage in the NFL because a lot of these guys, like they only know one way, they only know one place. And a lot of times it can perhaps be a culture shock if you see like how things are done different than what you've become used to from 3 to 5 years in college. I think the fact that Judkins went to Ole Miss where they do things a certain way and it's different type of conference. It's the SEC, which is intense. And then going to Ohio State where Ryan Day does things a certain way. It's still passionate football, but it's Big Ten. It's a different vibe, like a completely different feel. I actually think that amount of experience in different scenarios, I actually think that's kind of intriguing and might actually prepare you a little bit more for the NFL and whatever the hell they throw your way. So I think that array of experience that Judkins has is kind of another thing that I think kind of makes me like him as well. The more that I look into what he could bring to the table.
It's worth noting, I think, if we're looking at the guys that we had that were the same guys, Hampton, to get him, you probably have to draft in the first round. Henderson, Judkins, probably have to move up in the second to get both of those guys.
Or move back
from the first.
Yeah.
Sampson from Tennessee should be there in the second round, probably there in the third round with the first selection you have. Johnson should be there second round, maybe there third. And then Hunter's probably a day 3 guy. And I have no idea where Cam Scatterby is going to go. If you told me that some idiot team drafted him, like 34, I'd believe it. If you told me he slipped into the late third, I'd believe it.
He's one of those guys where if you have like a crap ton of picks or you're just a good squad and you want to just add someone to the mix, then you just decide to do it. You just decide to add him to the mix just out of intrigue. He to me
feels like that player. Last year, to me, the player we were like, whoa, he went that high, was Tavondre Sweat. Most of us thought he was going to be a third-round pick, and he went near the top of the second round.
Well, something happened too.
What?
I mean, he flipped his car or whatever, leaving a party.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the expectation of where he was going to go and where he ultimately went. He went higher than the expectation. Yeah. I do wonder if Scatterby is going to be that guy where, hey, late second, early third, and then boom, top of the second round. Like there he is, off the board to somebody.
Yeah, he's gonna halt the coverage for sure. There's gonna be like 15-minute dialogue about Scatterbo, and he'll probably be sitting there with his dad with his flat billed hat. His dad looks like he just like did a resin hit and shotgunned a beer, all tatted up and stuff like that. Like I want to see what his draft vibe is like.
I wonder if the Bears would take him. The Bears have 2 picks right there at the top of the second round, 39 and 41.
By the way, I said Jordan Reed. I meant Eric Reed. My bad. Number 25, San Fran. Jordan Reed's the ESPN draft expert. That's why he's on the front of our mind. They put him on TV all the time. So that's who that is. I must Pandaline was asking. Yeah, my bad. Eric Reed, Justin Reed. Jordan Reed's the ESPN draft guy. So that's
he did play football. He's a quarterback though.
Yeah, I don't know what he played.
The Bears are drafting a running back for sure because the running back room is atrocious. Ben Johnson wouldn't play DeAndre Swift in Detroit, and then Roshan Johnson, Travis Homer, and Ian Wheeler, like they're drafting a running back, probably 2.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of like a that might be a floor for Genty, to be honest with you. Right there at 10. Like I don't know that he gets. Yeah, I mean they're trying to stack. They're trying to make it as comfortable as they can.
You give Ben Johnson Genty, he's over the moon.
Yeah. So. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, I'm not sure what the thing will be. Yeah, I don't know about Jordan Reed. No idea. That's me. My paneling says we had him on the graphic. So
when have we had Jordan Reed on a graphic?
I'm kind of calling cap on that, but I don't know that I've ever had a Jordan Reed graphic.
I don't know.
Maybe I did on the day 2 picks. That's possible. That could have happened.
I did misspell Gunnar Helm's name and then I fixed it. Nobody noticed.
She's keeping us honest though. So shout out to her. But the running back thing is interesting. They visited with damn near as many running backs as they have wide receivers. So there's that.
Riverbend here late. Who was Landry's running back crush? Hit the rewind button. It was Quinshon Jenkins.
Justin Reed's on my graphic. Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. It says Justin Reed right there. Looking at it right now. Yeah. I think she must have like a TV crush on Jordan Reed. She sees him up there looking all timid. Looking all timid. Gets I must Pandeline in a sweat. My best running back is.
It is kind of strange how they swapped out, and I understand there's probably some extras to it, but they swapped out McShay and his energy and his combativeness for like 2 very like, oh, Mr. Kuiper in Matt Miller and Jordan Reed.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I kind of give them credit because they're not trying to duplicate it and force it.
Right.
So they're not trying to force the chemistry that Todd and Mel had.
And damn, they're putting Field Yates on everything now.
Okay, so it was you. Texans passed 3rd rounders, so it was you. It wasn't me.
No, you built that graphic.
It says Justin Reed right there. I didn't change it.
So right, it wasn't me.
Me. Shaggy. Shout out to it.
You built the past 3rd. Oh, okay. I know what she's talking about.
Yeah, wasn't me.
All right, I guess it was me.
Yeah, was you. Wasn't me. Don't associate me with this slime ball. Cody just doesn't see the difference between Justin Reed, Jordan Reed, Eric Reed.
Justin and Jordan are 2 names that you can get confused pretty easily.
Yeah, so there you go. That's it. Other news with the Texans in the draft.
Damn, I did.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Look at this slime ball. See, it was him. It was not me. I wasn't even a part of this.
I did do it.
Yeah, it was not me. Justin, I'm fine. I mixed up Eric and Jordan. I did do that, like just talking, because I just watched Jordan Reed on ESPN. But Justin, no. I've interviewed Justin a lot. So yeah, see, she's not crazy. I must Paneline is not crazy. She's holding you accountable for your ignorance, Cody.
Rich Boy Jay, my favorite basketball player of all time, Michael Justin.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. Yeah, you've all had your fun.
There you go. So vindication for Panda. Shout out to that.
Jordan, Justin.
Can you explain something to me? Because I was listening to your stream yesterday before I did mine at 10:30. What is this Baskin-Robbins theory that you keep throwing out? Because I feel like you're just trying to sneak ice cream into the discussion. Like I don't even I was very confused because then you brought Bluebell into the mix. Like what are we what are we saying with this Baskin-Robbins theory that you're trying to throw out there?
With running backs, it's a Baskin-Robbins theory. Whatever type of flavor of ice cream you want, Baskin-Robbins has it. Whatever type of flavor of running back you want, this draft has it. You want a bell cow do-it-all guy, they got him. You want a pass catcher only, they got him. You want a third down back that you can draft in the 6th, 7th round and play him right away on special teams and third down, you got him. You want bruisers who are just running between the tackles, and there's something for everybody in this draft, just like there's something for everybody at the old Baskin-Robbins.
So how did Bluebell get in the conversation?
Man, I don't know. Sometimes you're just saying shit and it happens.
Yeah, you brought up Bluebell, and I was very confused because I feel like Bluebell has flavors for everybody too.
Yeah, but they don't have every flavor all right in front of you. It's only whatever the store has.
When's the last time you've been at the store?
But,
if there's one thing I know about Texas grocery stores, they got Bluebell.
You're telling me there's 32 flavors of Bluebell when you go to the store?
Probably.
No. I'll go to H-E-B when this is over and go take a picture.
Yeah, probably.
32? No.
They got Dr. Pepper. They had some pump. Yeah, probably. No. I just don't know how Bluebell got into it. I get the Baskin-Robbins. I don't know how Bluebell got into it.
Well, I don't know. I'll go do an in-depth breakdown analysis on why I brought Bluebell into the equation.
I go with them Hib Creamy Creations at this point. They got some Utopia ice cream too. Got to hit that. I have found myself liking Baskin-Robbins though. I have found myself liking it a little bit.
Get you a little gold medal ribbon and baseball nut.
Yep. I'm in on that. So we are going to do the super stream on day 1 and day 2 of the draft. Day 3, we got something special planned.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be very fun. We've been looking for a venue. Last year we had a party. The venue was average. No offense.
Place is closed down now.
Oh yeah. So there you go. It was very average. And this year we wanted to do something fun. And the reason why we like to have the draft party on day 3 is because day 1 and day 2 is a day of focus. We're all watching the draft together. We super stream all that. And then we take it all in. And day 3 is kind of a little bit more laid back. So you have the opportunity to discuss what's happened, still enjoy the draft, take it all in, and break bread, whatever, pour up, do what you got to do on day 3. And I think it's safe to say that this venue that we're going to have it at, it's not just a much better venue. It's kind of a Houston staple, if we're being honest.
Yep. So on April 26th, come watch day 3 of the NFL draft. Talk a little Texans football with us over at Karbach in the Biergarten. They're going to have a whole section for us over there in the Biergarten. They just added their pizza and pints, which is right there next to the Biergarten. You can get the food from the pub. You can get pizza. You have all the beverages that Karbach offers. And then they're going to put the big screen on the draft for us as well. We're going to have a blast out there at the Biergarten in Karbach. Really excited to be having the draft event there. And it's going to be awesome.
You got the Hopadillo. You got the Love Streets. You got the Crawford Bach. There's all kinds of brews. I'm a big fan of what they got. If you're not drinking, they got the non-alcoholic beer. So they got that.
They just added to the NA lineup too.
They got the hazy IPA. There's all types of stuff. Hopadillo hazy, Hopadillo regular, all that. But we will be at the Biergarten, and I've heard that pizza place goes hard too, and it's going to be right there. They're going to set us up with the TVs. We might broadcast live reaction to each pick. It just kind of depends. Quite frankly, by that time, the previous 2 days, we will have streamed damn near 20 hours. It's going to be a busy time, and this is a perfect way to celebrate with you, the people, at a Houston staple. This is going to be a big event. We want you out there. We'll be giving away some stuff. Got a lot of things working, and it's just going to be basically an in-person meet and greet. And it's one of the best days because it's the merging of the 2 most popular sports and the 2 best sports, in my opinion, in America: NFL football, college football. So you're with us daily. Make the trip. We're not asking you to go to some random spot. This is a Houston staple. Karbach beers everywhere. It's not just in Houston. And there's a reason why it's damn good, and they got a damn good thing going. So get y'all's asses up there.
Yep. And Justin is pretty from Karbach's excited to have us out there. So he's going to take care of us, and let's get a bunch of people out there, hang out, watch some football, talk about the first 2 days, lament over the fact that they didn't draft the running back yet, and Landry's pulling his hair out. They drafted 2 guards, and I'm thrilled. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Come on through. We got you. A little bit
Jordan from Karbach. No, his name's Justin. Damn it.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. The setup is –
out there.
I was out there today talking with them, and just where we are, the space that we're going to have right next to the pizza, right next to the pub. You go get the pub food, bring it out. You get the pizza, bring it out there. And, boy, this pizza place, they went and created their own type of dough for it. They had to knock out a wall to put in the pizza oven that they use. It's spiffy, let me tell you. We're going to have a blast. Plenty of great drinks, plenty of great food, and you with us talking football.
Karbach, 26. Mark your calendar. Get out there.
Yep.
Take us to task. Talk. This is what we like to do. We like to talk with the people, and we're looking forward to it. So it'll be a fun time. Day 3, and we'll kind of have a clear picture of what the Texans' direction was in the draft. I'll be honest, man. I kind of want the Texans to trade out of day 1 at this point.
Well, if they made day 2 just a real big deal and also added a 4th round pick at some point, that would certainly make that 2 through 5 a lot more special.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, the more we get the cabin fever, the more we break it down. I'm just kind of, let's just get out of there. Like there's nothing really exciting that's gonna happen on day 1. Just get out of there. And quite frankly, I think it's their superpower is day 2. I think it's potentially the superpower for Caserio and D'Amico. So the more I think about it, the more I want that to go down.
I'm not opposed in any way, shape, or form. Unless Kelvin Banks is there, then just draft him.
The number 2 guard on Dane Brugler's list, which he never besmirched him as a tackle. He just put him as his number 2 guard. That was the interesting thing about it.
Yeah,
he said he probably projects better, but he never besmirched him as a.
He said he could play tackle.
Is besmirch a word?
Yeah.
Yeah. Word. Yeah.
You besmirch me all the time.
Yeah. Well, you besmirch yourself.
To damage the reputation of someone or something in the opinion of others.
To damage the reputation of someone and someone. Yeah. See, I got a vocabulary every once in a while. I might fool some folks.
Yeah,
a little bit. I'll trick people. Someone in the chat said that Ben and Jerry's is better than Bluebell. That's a joke. Come on, brother.
I'm not paying.
No, Ben and Jerry's is better. He said Ben and Jerry's is better than Bluebell. No, Ben and Jerry's is trash, dude. That is trash.
I'm not paying half-gallon prices for a pint of ice cream. Okay.
And they just throw junk in it, dude. It's just like junk just for the sake of junk. There's no texture to it. It's the label is like off. Like it's too much, man. And Jerry's ass.
I might reach out to Baskin-Robbins, see if they want to do something with us for the draft.
Oh, the running back. This running back selection brought to you by Baskin-Robbins. A little something for everyone. You can do that with every running back pick. Ashton Genty goes to the Raiders. Cody comes in. This running back selection brought to you by.
He's kind of like gold medal ribbon. He's the standard. You can only get that guy at Baskin-Robbins.
What's gold medal ribbon? Is that a normal flavor?
Yeah, it's one of their specialty flavors.
So you remember the flavors, huh? Every time I go in Baskin-Robbins, I don't know what there is.
Oh yeah, Baskin-Robbins does a great job with the specialty flavors, and then they're like tried and true flavors that they also like put into pints as well.
I heard that you made them run out of sample spoons one time. Like you had like 30 samples.
That's just wrong. You're wrong
30,
about that.
30 samples of Baskin-Robbins. Can I try a sample of this? Hey, let me try a sample of that.
I don't try samples at Baskin-Robbins. I get the same thing every time.
The ribbon?
I get the gold medal ribbon and I get the baseball nut.
Okay. All right. On that note, be sure to get out to Karbach, the Biergarten, the 26th.
Chocolate chip cheesecake. That sounds good.
I had that. That's what I tried.
Was it good?
Yeah, I tried that and I mixed it with my normal chocolate and I mixed it up together. It wasn't terrible, but it was better mixed. I always take the one that I'm going to try and I mix it. But yeah, I got the chocolate chip cheesecake and I mixed it with triple fudge or whatever that has the chocolate that has caramel, whatever the hell that's called. So I did try that. It's not bad. It's not good on its own. It's better mixed.
The flavor of the month is Paloma Paradise. I'm out on that.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. Appreciate y'all for coming through. We'll see you out there. We got a lot to get into. Night stream tonight. I think Nick Caserio needs to listen to Key and Peele's first horror movie and get out of the first round. Always remember, though, whether they select in the first round, whether they don't, whether you're at Karbach or you're not, if you're not, you're a weasel. When it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. You'll be drinking good at Karbach on the 26th. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Boom.